Afternoon, folks. Well, it's been a rough past couple months as far as being a Catholic goes. We had Father Altman get his faculties removed. We had this whole communion controversy with Joe Biden and that whole mess. We had the James Martin getting a letter from the Pope. We had the same-sex blessing controversy and the German bishops. We had this, cemetery in Canada get this whole thing riled up about Catholics being genocidal or whatever, and now we have this motu proprio saying that Latin Mass is going to be highly regulated. So, been pretty tough, I mean, the whole Pachamama thing wasn't even that long ago. It's been pretty wild, and there's been a lot of reactions and stuff, particularly with this Latin Mass thing, and some people's reactions, I don't think are proper to what we're supposed to be as Catholics and how we're supposed to react to some of this stuff. So one thing I'm going to say is that, in the past, in the Bible, stuff like this has been removed from people as a chastisement before. The Ark of the Covenant was taken from the Jews at one point, and the temple was destroyed in Jerusalem. And this stuff has happened before, and it's chastisement because of we've been wrong. We haven't cultivated virtue in our lives. We've been very sinful as a people, and this is the result of it. When there's abuse of worship, when there's abuse of sacraments, God takes it away. He doesn't tolerate it after a while, and this is the result of that. So we should all be seeking to do more penance and make reparation for sins instead of hopping online and crying like people cried when this whole same-sex blessing thing comes on. Like, a lot of you people getting on and saying how upset you are about how, the Latin Mass was so near and dear to me, and I'm just so distraught, and this is terrible of him, this is that. You don't sound any different to me than these people who complained about how they were going to leave the church when the same-sex, when they said they couldn't bless same-sex unions or whatever. It doesn't sound any different to me. You got to be willing to suffer when suffering is slung upon you like this, and you can use it to grow in holiness, and you can use it for the reparation of people's sins and for the purification of your own soul instead of getting on and being a big crybaby. So there's that, and there's also the people getting on and acting like the more upset, the more sorrowful they are over this. It somehow means that they're more holy. I've seen a lot of people doing that. I think Tim Gordon and Taylor Marshall have had good reactions to this, though, in the sense that we need to be obedient because it's a punishment in some ways, but we need to show that we are, going to the Latin Mass for the proper reasons, that it is proper worship to God, and not because it's a pride thing for ourselves. And of course, you got to bring in the whole SSPX thing going on. How there's all these people saying, sedevacantists are right, or SSPX, which are pretty much just like sedevacantists, trying to act like they're not sedevacantists. I don't understand this. I don't understand if the SSPX is in communion with Rome and everything's legit with them, then how is it that you can go to the SSPX and escape all this stuff? I don't understand it. But I'm not going to run from my punishment. And that's what a lot of people are trying to do by being SETIs or going to the SSPX. You're trying to run from your punishment. You don't think you have to take part in this chastisement when you do. And I think it'll catch up to you if you do. So if it comes down to it, I'm just going to suffer through this. I'm going to use that suffering to grow in holiness. I'm going to, make reparations for sins, of my own sins and those of other people. And I'm going to do my best to do penance and remain obedient in this chastisement that has been brought upon us or whatever. Like, you can't say that you're Catholic and you obey the Pope except when he does what you don't like. And, I know there's all doctrines about it. I know it doesn't mean that we need to do everything that the Pope says or agree with him, but, you can't say that you're going to be obedient to him and then not be obedient when it upsets you, when it's about the Latin Mass and you just want to flock to the SSPX chapels and pretend that everything's okay there. And as far as the whole SSPX thing goes, I really want it to be true, okay, that we can go to SSPX and everything's fine, okay, and I'm not there, and I'm not saying I can't be convinced of that, but there's some things that need to be explained to me better, and I need to see a little bit more evidence that everything's okay there. All right. And what bugs me about a lot of you SSPX people is that, Scripture says, blessed are you when they persecute you or revile you or say all these untrue things about you for my sake or whatever. And you guys, when there's a little bit of pushback against SSPX, when, some people come out and say some pretty rowdy things, you guys just come out, the calumny, the slandering, the this, the libel, the this. You guys just are a bunch of crybabies. And it doesn't make me want to seriously investigate the SSPX. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's just the followers that make me want to not go for it. But like you guys, I've seen a complete unwillingness to suffer or bear any sort of revilement or chastisement or punishment or just any sort of suffering whatsoever from you SSPX people. Like I've seen none of willingness to deal with that. So like. I don't know. Like, I think you guys should maybe think about that a little bit more. That you've been so unwilling to suffer any sort of, like, even just slander or libel on Twitter that you get so upset about that. Like, I don't understand how you're going to actually deal with the actual real persecution in the real world. And again, if God takes away the Latin Mass because we've all been crappy people, then, like, that's just what he decides to do. And he'll bring it back when it's time, when he deems necessary and by whom he deems necessary, because a big point of our Catholic doctrine is that you can't do something evil with the intention of bringing good about. So take that for what it's worth. But if I have to go to Novus Ordo, if that's what I end up having to do, then I guess that's what I have to do. Okay, and I said earlier that I was gonna be a big rabble rouser, and I was gonna be a big jerk at coffee and donut hour, and I was gonna yell all of my responses in Latin, but no, I'm not going to do that, because if we flood the Novus Ordo parishes as trads and we're obnoxious and weird and stuff like that, then yeah, that's going to kind of prove everybody's point. That's going to kind of make us out to be the nut jobs that Francis is trying to get everybody to see that we are. So if I have to go to Novus Ordo, I'm going to be kind to people. When I go to receive communion, I'm not going to go to a Eucharistic minister. I'm not going to do that, and I am going to get on my knees and have them have to receive on the tongue. And if they refuse that, then I'm not getting communion in, because I'm not gonna put up with that. I've become convinced that that's the proper way to receive communion. And if they're going to deny me that, then I'll bear that burden too. But there are things we can do to not promote sacrilege in a Novus Ordo Mass without just completely being jerks, because it's kind of not very fitting of being at a Mass either, just being a bunch of jerks or whatever. But if I have to be there, then I'm gonna try and talk to people. I'm gonna try and show them that there were reasons that we preferred the Latin Mass, and it wasn't because we were a bunch of big-headed dopes. Okay, and I didn't go to the Latin Mass for a while because I thought people were like that, and it's been proven that they are in some ways, but not in other ways. There are a lot of good, kind people who will be welcoming, but there are jerks. There are jerks who are trads and stuff like that, and they only go there because they think they're more pious than going to the Mass of the Ages and stuff. It's true, but it's not all of us. So don't make it out like it's all of us. But I think that's all I got to say about this now. Be willing to suffer. Be willing to go through the chastisement and be willing to bear that burden, bear the suffering. You don't need the Latin Mass in order to increase your prayer life, to meditate on your own time, to root out vices and sin in your life, to cultivate virtue and lead a good Catholic lifestyle outside of going to Mass. You don't need the Latin Mass for that, okay? And I just wonder how much effort you guys are putting into these other areas of your life, especially when you've demonstrated online that you're so unwilling to suffer or put up with any sort of slander or pushback or anything from anybody. It just makes me question that. But that's your business. That's on you what you're gonna do with that. But I'm gonna try and increase my prayer life, and if the sacraments are taken away from us, then it's a chastisement. Bad priests, bad bishops, and taking away the sacraments is a punishment. And if that's what we have to do, then, we need to make reparations for those sins and cultivate virtue within ourselves and not cry like a bunch of big babies that we aren't getting our way. And God will take care of us if that's what we do. If we're humble and we're virtuous, God will take care of us. But, if we steal away to our own corner and be like, no, I got to have Latin Mass or I'm not going to be Catholic or whatever, or this or that or that, I'm running away from this punishment because I don't deserve to take part in it, then God's probably not going to, take care of you there. But yeah, it's tough times. Again, we've gone through a lot of stuff as Catholics in the last few years, especially in the last 2 months, and it is tough. But the last thing I want to say is that during real chastisement or something like that, a real punishment, it's probably not going to be the way we think. We want to think society is just going to collapse and it's just going to be there. We're going to have our own trad village and we're going to have all the guns and it's just going to be great. But it's not. What's going to happen is that us who want to hold to the traditions and be faithful Catholics, we are going to be slandered and libeled and mocked and ridiculed by everybody from all sides. Those left leaning Catholics in our church, those out in society who are not Catholics, those sedevacantists. I told you so. Pope's evil, this that from the Pope himself, from the hierarchy. We're gonna get it from all angles. And if you can't put up with that spiritually, if you can't handle that psychologically, you're not gonna last. You need to practice detachment. You need to grow in virtue. You need to root out your vices and sins. You need to make sure that you're mentally, psychologically, emotionally able to handle that, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be from all sides. It's constant slandering and ridicule and stuff, and you need to be able to put up with that. You need, for your own sake and salvation, to be able to deal with that. And I just wish more people would understand that. Okay, like you're just gonna have to put up with it. You're gonna have to grow in virtue to the point where you can be detached from that. It's not gonna upset your inner peace. It's not gonna cause you to literally go nuts and lose the faith. So let's all work on those things. Y'all take care.